record and get started. So good afternoon. This is Shannon Gronich with the Business Acceleration Network, and I am so excited today. This is the launch of our partnership and collaboration series where we are interviewing individuals that have decided to come together in business and work together as a team. And as you know, in business, when you start working with a partner, it can be a little bit like a marriage. And it can be a relationship that has ups and downs, but it really, in this time, I believe it's one of the quickest ways to accelerate our business is when we come together, whether it be in a partnership or just individuals collaborating. It can be super powerful. So today we happen to have 3 founders of a 9-year-old international membership organization, Women's Prosperity Network. And I've been so honored to be a member of Women's Prosperity Network. They are, sorry, I just heard somebody giggle. We're
just excited to be here.
And, you know, I've had the opportunity to work and get to know each one of them. Nancy has spoken at my events. Trish has spoken at my events. I've been to their events and learned from them. They're some of my teachers and mentors. But this is an opportunity to really dive in and hear the inner workings. So we have Trish Carr, who is the co-founder. Susan, how do I say your last
Wiener.
name?
Wiener. I just spell it funny.
It's where?
Okay. It's Wiener. Susan Wiener. What a perfect last name for my sister.
I love it. And Nancy Matthews. So I'd love to start out with saying thank you and share with us kind of what, obviously you're sisters, so that brought you together, but how did this vision of women's prosperity and your partnership and collaboration get started?
Well,
so, Trish, you
want to take
it.
that one? I was going to say Nancy and Susan actually have been working together in different capacities for 20 years, dare I say, since the late 90s.
Yep.
I joined them in 2003. Nancy had a title company. She was doing real estate closings, and Susan and I were with her there. Prior to that, Nancy and Susan worked together in the same type of a business for an attorney. So they've been working together for a long time. In 2003, we were working at the title company, and the 3 of us saw that it was a great time to teach people how to buy real estate for investment purposes. So we put together a seminar company back then, and we're teaching people how to flip houses on little or no money. It was during the fun time in real estate. And then come 2007, with the big boom and the bubble and the burst, it wasn't a good time to be in real estate anymore. You all remember the recession of 2008. So Nancy, being the visionary that she was, saw that it was time for a shift. And, you know, it really all started with Nancy. I claim the co-founder moniker, but Nancy was the one who started it and had the brainstorm. So I'll let her tell the story about how it came about in 2008 that we officially launched Women's Prosperity Network.
All right, thank you, Trish. You know, as I was listening to you share, and when we speak about collaboration and business and partnerships, so that's what we're talking about today, is business and partnerships. What's interesting is that I had the title company and we had the seminar company, and by 2005 or 6, I was really over what I was doing. Like, I started my own business in 2002, and I ended up creating something that, like, I turned around one day and I was like, oh crap, I just created myself a new job. This is not what I meant to do, you know? So around 2004, 5, 6, that's when I was exploring, you know, something else, which is how we got into the seminar business with real estate investing. And then I was at a seminar learning how to be a better speaker, presenter, all of that stuff. And a woman approached me with an idea for starting a women's seminar company. So I partnered with her and 2 other women on what their business model was and their idea. So let's talk about partnerships. So I got into that partnership kind of as the back, playing on the back burner a little bit, but I was involved and I was the real estate expert in that space. And that partnership, I love the women that did it, but the business model was flawed and it was failed. So when that business fell apart at the end of 2007, we knew we were onto something good, and who better to create a new business with than my sisters.
So you just knew that was who you could work with.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had already been working together. Like I said, I had just got invited into this other partnership thing, which was great because it created the desire, the purpose, and everything. And we, like I said, there was something good. Trish and Susan and I were speaking to women about this new women's seminar company, and they were all jazzed up and excited. So we knew we had something good. It was just a flawed model with these other partners. So again, we have all been working together in businesses in one way or another for so many years, it just made sense.
That's great. So once you had the vision, what was kind of the next step to putting it into action with the three of you coming together? Trish, were you working one job, or tell me a little bit about that, moving the vision forward as a team?
Yeah, well, moving it forward, the first thing we did, honestly, was we hired someone who could help us. We hired a coach, a mentor, a consultant. Because although we are brilliant, yes, and you put the three of us together and we're even more brilliant, we also know we know that there's a lot we don't know. So we immediately hired a consultant to help us to map out the vision. And then from there, we worked with a facilitator to create the core foundation, the mission, the vision, the values, what we wanted to accomplish, who we wanted to be, because we had this massive vision of, we wanted to be a lot of things, but you certainly can't start out that way. So we worked with a facilitator to come up with who are we, what are we about, what do we want to bring to the table, and then we just considered where should we start. So of course we started in our own neighborhood in South Florida. We just started with something we called masterminding. We knew that we wanted to bring people together and do a different kind of networking. We wanted to get away from the basic card swap and drop and the basic hear a speaker and then try to connect with everybody after the speaker. While those models work really well, there were a lot of them out there, so we weren't being different. So we really focused on how do we want to be different, and then we launched. And truth be told, it was a few months before we got where we wanted to go. The first time we did it, it didn't seem like a lot of mastermind. Second time got better. Third time even better. Probably 6 months before we got to a model that really worked.
It was April at the El Palacio Hotel.
It was April?
Yeah, we did.
So it was February, March, April. So it was 3 months.
After Mommy told me that I was terrible when I got off stage.
Yeah, I know. I know. People always ask, did your mother get to see your success? And we were like, well, she passed away in December of that year, and I remember hearing was all the things we could do better. Isn't that great?
Yep.
I think everybody can relate to that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Shannon, I want to mention something, because one of the keys to creating partnerships and collaboration is knowing what people's strengths are.
I was just going to ask you that. Yes.
Of course, we're like-minded. I know. Yeah. So to that, the three of us, while we have the same heart, we have different skill sets. So, for example, Susan is so amazing with people, remembering who they are, caring about them, loving on them, keeping all the information about them in a place that it's easily accessible. So Susan's our people person.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing about you today, Nancy. I was like, she's remembering everybody's name and everything on the phone. You're remembering details of, what they're up to and moving. And I think each of you have that. So What is your role? Because each of you have different strengths, and I've seen you come together and do events. So Susan, do you mind kind of sharing a little bit about your role and?
Absolutely not. I love every aspect of our business. And like Nancy said, each of us had certain strengths. So back in the beginning, and I want to add this real quick because I think it's important for people that are going to want to collaborate, is that it's important to have the same core values. That's the thing that makes us work. We actually have the same values, we have the same approach to life, and we want the same things. We just don't always go about it the same way. But that was a key to us being, and has been for us being so successful, is that core belief that we have and the values that we hold. That's one of the things that holds us together. So when we first got started, we were 3 sisters with a great idea. That's how we started. And we stayed that way for lots of years as we grew and expanded. So at the time when we began, we picked the role that best suited each of us. We all have the same skill sets pretty much, you know, and then we each develop them in different ways. But any one of us could do all of the things that we do. Just not very effectively because there's too much to do. Big key message right there, right? So I picked to do the operations and the admin portion of it and the customer service portion because I thrive on making people feel good. That's what lights me up. I want everybody I talk to feel a little bit better after they speak to me than they did before we connected. That can be on the phone, in person, whatever it may be. So I chose that. And I also have great admin skills. I've run other offices. I actually ran businesses. So I had that skill set and I enjoy it. Not so much because I like to gather data. That's not my thing. But I love to learn about people.
You're curious. You're so curious.
I'm a curious girl. Yes, I am. So I'm always looking to get to know people better. So it was fun for me to do the data portion of it, you know, and start keeping records and connecting with the customers. That was ideal for me. So that's the role I took. Trish is a phenomenal everything. And one of her core strengths that we played on is her facilitating and training and keeping us held together. She's very, very good at that. Nancy and I have a tendency to sometimes go after that great idea and here we go and then let's go do this. And then Trish,
this is what I do. I do this.
And you need somebody like that. Like I said, Nancy and I had worked together years before Trish and, you know, came into the mix as far as work goes. So we were already flying high all the time. And then came Trish. So she anchored us and she was great at putting together the meeting, the facilitation. Nancy has the gift of gab, as some of you may know. And so one of the strengths that we played with Nancy is her strength in marketing and connecting and being the face of Women's Prosperity Network initially. And again, we all do everything, but that's kind of how we broke it up. So that's how we got started. And from there, and many years later, we've got lots of team doing lots of stuff for us.
Awesome. Now, did you know that from the beginning, or are you continuing to discover each other's strengths as you go along even now? I mean, it seems like you guys have roles pretty defined. Is that true?
Yeah. We're also always growing. So that's why you'll see things shifting in what we're doing or how we're doing it. And a lot of that comes from being able to grow the business to the point where we could actually delegate and have several team members. You know, and we did that little by little. Like I said in the beginning, we were, you know, like a 3-in-1 solopreneur, if you would.
Right.
And, you know, but now we're a team. So there's a lot more strengths that we can bring to the table and bring to the community as a result of that. Makes sense?
I think one of the biggest takeaways, and I think Susan's really speaking to this, is that this was foundationally, this was something we did at the beginning. And, you know, whether you're collaborating with sisters or you're collaborating with another business person, because today collaboration is what runs business, period, end of sentence. Ultra competitive, dog eat dog is out the window, and collaboration is key now among businesses, not just within businesses. So I think that what I see happening for people who do want to collaborate is they don't take that foundational time to talk about what are your goals, what are your values, what's the big picture, what are we going for, do we agree? what are your strengths? What can you bring to the table that I don't have? I think what we tend to do is we get so excited, like, we all love a shiny object, shiny object. We get very excited about having a collaboration, and we don't do that foundational work, and it's so vital. P.S. also in writing, an agreement in writing as to who's doing what, what's happening, who's responsible for what, how much money are we talking about for everybody. All of that needs to be on the table, because otherwise it causes gray areas and difficulty down the road. And the last thing you want is to build up resentments and challenges that you really don't need.
So that's great. And I love that you brought up agreements, because one of the things that we talk about in the summit is that agreements for results, and looking at those shared mission and vision, also measurements of satisfaction, to do that checkpoint of, are we on task? Are we accomplishing it? And I'm not certain if you guys do this, but talk about how to manage conflict and how to manage when things happen.
We never have conflict, Shannon. We're three sisters.
Never.
I just smacked them.
That's actually, that's Susan's responsible for conflict management. She's the best at it. She has the best skills at it.
So can you share with us what's that like? How do you manage? Because stuff happens in every relationship. This is, every relationship, marriage, business, we have to know that this happens. And I think it's how we move through things that really matter. So we'd love to hear how you do that. And if you have a story to share, that's always exciting too.
I could give you one from yesterday. No. Well, so conflict management, conflict resolution goes back to what Susan talked about having shared values. When you have shared values and mutual respect, it creates a space for open communication. So if I say something that hurts someone's feelings, they have the freedom to tell me, you know what, I'm a little blocked right now. When you said such and such, I kind of shut down a little bit. So number one is people feeling loved and respected enough to know that they can say what they're feeling without ostracism, without criticism, without judgment. That is a key component to any successful relationship.
Yeah. And the story is, we have every Monday we get together with our staff and have a meeting. And in the meeting, Susan, is it all right if I tell this?
Oh, go, absolutely.
So Susan,
she really wanted to say no.
She did want to say no, but Susan spent the weekend cleaning the data up to make sure we had the numbers. We have our unconference coming up in October, so we were looking at how many tickets, who's coming, who's VIP. She spent the whole weekend working on that, and when she did, we said, okay, that's great. And then I went right into asking her questions about, well, can you give me a report on what percentage happens here and what's coming out of what chapters? And so I'm the structure person. So I went right to, what data can you give me so I can see what's actually happening out there? And I was like bulleting her with, I need this data, I need that data, I need this data. Right after she said, I just spent 2 days doing something fantastic, and I didn't give her the kudos that she deserved, because I just went into my business head to go forward. And she had the wherewithal, and knowing that she was in a safe space, and she said, hey, wait a minute here, I got to tell you, I'm a little tilted from this. I just told you I did something fantastic, and instead of you saying, yay, you were awesome, all I heard was, well, where's this and where's that, and didn't you get this? So just simple stuff like being able to say that in my face and knowing that I'm going to accept it and apologize, that's what makes a great collaboration. That's what we, every day I on my appreciation list for the day, I appreciate that my relationship with my sisters is what I call a 10 relationship, where we can have that kind of candid conversation and it just rolls off. I like to be a duck, rolls off my back. So
so that was awesome, Trish. And as your team grows, as your company grows, when you can model that for the team, they feel safe to say what they're feeling. So we've got to be, go ahead.
And the customers that you serve.
Exactly.
So that is how we operate at Women's Prosperity Network. We invite that we create that safe environment so people can speak out and tell us what it is they're feeling so you can move through it. That's conflict resolution. It's, I have a conflict, let's resolve it. It's all about communication. So you'll see that, again, that's a thread throughout our business.
Yeah. Confrontation is good. Conflict is good. It's when it's not faced head on that problems happen.
Right.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I had somebody a couple weeks ago that was sharing with me. I just noticed that she was running, and I said, "What's your relationship with conflict?" And she said, "I stay away from it." And we dug a little bit deeper, and I used to have that same belief, but I've now realized that at least 80% of the things that I talk to the people about, we end up being stronger, and the relationship grows closer. And it's using the skills that each of you have mentioned has been remarkable. And I just want to say, I know that at one point I had a question. I went to Nancy, and Nancy, the authenticity and to be able to have that place in all of our relationships, if this is what's going on, and communicating and feeling safe to do that is so key. So thank you. This is a real big thing. Anything else you want to add about that? Because again, this is it's, you guys are sisters, so it's a little different than you're like married, but you're really engaging in all different aspects of your life. Do you find that there's challenges with time management and working together in that aspect?
I think the only, we wouldn't say so, but the people in our lives would probably say so, because we talk about work all the time. Because it's exciting. I just came back from doing the One Experience last Saturday, and we were all hanging out at my house, and Trish was away. I know, were you there? I can't know. Oh,
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
So Trish's husband is there, and our neighbor was there, and we start talking about all the stuff at the event. And to us, it's just awesome. It's the stuff that lights us up. And he's like, "I'm gonna go watch TV," or something, because it just, that would be the only thing, is that our lives are our businesses, and that holistic totality approach. And I can sometimes forget that other people aren't quite as interested as I am.
Well, the famous story is we work together all the time, although we're not in the same location all the time. We are a few times a week. We're on the phone together. I am all day long. So it was Susan's birthday, and we worked in the same location, Nancy and I. Right, Nancy's right across the street from me, literally like 100 paces across the parking lot. And it was Susan's birthday, and we get together to have cake and ice cream for Susan's birthday. And turns out that Nancy and Trish gave Susan the exact same gift, not telling each other what we got for her. Like, oh my gosh, we just don't even, it's like we don't spend any time talking about those personal things. It kind of fits its way in. So that was the last time we did that, Susan.
I like that's an idea blossoming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be key steps to being a high performance team that's dedicated to the shared vision? Are there key things that you want to share that have been, obviously you said that having the shared vision, having the shared heart, are there key aspects if somebody's working in a team that you think is important for them to know and consider?
I got something for that. And I actually learned this. I went to LeaderCast conference in Atlanta in May, and one of the breakout sessions was a guy by the name of Alan Schaefer, who was a rock and roll musician, song artist, and now he has a company called Banding Together, or something like that. And he goes into companies and teaches team, what do they call that one? Team building. Yeah, there you go. And one of the things I loved in the lesson that I got is when you're in a team meeting, you must create a unanimous agreement. So it may not, let's say Susan has an idea, Trish has an idea, I have a different idea. Whatever comes out has to be an agreement that everyone can live with. So without resentment, well, she never picks my, you can't, that is so unhealthy. So the team agreement needs to be, here are the ideas on the table. Whatever we do, we must all have agreement, be able to live with it. We can change it later if it doesn't work out, but in the moment, we've got to be able to live with it.
Awesome. That's a great one.
Yeah. And then the other thing is keeping your eye on the prize. You know, we get, when we're in doing our stuff, the day-to-day, the emails, the phone calls, the texts, all of it can sometimes bog us down. It does for me. You know, I get like, oh my God, is my phone ever going to stop? But it's about reminding myself and the team, what's the goal? Where am I going? What's the vision? So not letting the minutia of the business take away from the joy. Listen, we recently had a member who's a longtime member who passed away, Carol Morgan. Many of you know her. And Nancy and Susan pointed out to me that, you know, in the midst of that, she said, you know what? They were saying when we first met Carol, she was doing network marketing and she was okay, but she wasn't really fulfilled. And by working with Nancy in particular and coaching with Nancy, she lit up when she realized that what she was meant to do had to do with interpreting dreams and using your dreams to move your life forward. And from that moment on, she changed her life and changed her trajectory. And for the rest of her life was able to do the thing that she absolutely loved. And that's the mission we've got to always remember, regardless of the emails, regardless of all the events we'd have to put together around the country and at our unconference. Regardless of all of that, it's about the Carol Morgans, the women who, because of the coaching, because of the collaboration, because of the masterminding, because of all of the things that we offer to our awesome members, they get to live an awesome life. And that's what we have to remember. And we bring that to the table. We bring that to the team.
Mm-hmm. You know, and we do regular meetings. So the three sisters get together, and then we also get together with the team once a week. And at that team meeting, and this is great for everybody, at that team meeting, we begin with gratitude. What are you grateful for in your personal life? What are you grateful for in your business? What did you accomplish last week that moves our mission and vision forward? So it's not about how many things did you get done. I want to know that too. But like Trish said, under the movement of achieving our particular goals. So,
and we're also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so when you have a team that you're leading, your role as the leader is to consistently hold the vision before them so they can be enrolled and feel good about their contribution. You know, the fact that Annie on our team sends all the emails out, that she can say, as a result of me sending out emails, there are 250 people already booked and coming to Unconference.
Right.
She did that. And that feels that's an achievement.
Absolutely. And we structure that. It's not like we just sit around the table and everybody thinks about, oh, what did I do? No, we actually have a form that we fill out every week, kind of like an autopsy on what I was able to do, what I wanted to do, what I didn't get done, and how I can get it done next time. And the first question,
support. And
where do I need support? Exactly. So the first question we always go around the table, like Nancy said, what's your greatest success? What are we celebrating this week? And then we get into what I got done and the impact that it had. And then what I didn't get done but intended to do, and then what I'm going to put into place so that next week I don't run into this problem again. So we're always future pacing. We're always looking at what's next, and always giving respect to what we've accomplished and achieved so far.
Celebrating that. Great.
Yeah.
Susan, did you have anything to add?
No, I have two brilliant sisters. And they usually speak the thoughts that I think. So I'll tell you, I'm at an advantage right there. And I think that it's important, and what they talked about real quick is ownership. And, we're talking about team, but team is also when you're collaborating with somebody. I encourage everybody to go get two sisters and do business together. Really. You know, they don't have to be born into your family. We just got extra lucky. And so a lot of the things we do come organically to us, but they're really business related. And it's so much easier to work with a team than it is to go it alone. I can tell you that any day, any one of us might want to quit. You know, I might want to say, this is too difficult. This is too challenging. I'm gone. What's that beautiful noise? Is it the clock?
It's Christmas time at Nancy's house.
We love it.
So you brought up, oh, go ahead, keep going.
To that end, though, now that we know it's Christmas, you just want to have people in your corner, ideally in business with you, you know, that you're collaborating with, that you're doing different projects with. Doesn't necessarily have to be across the board, but those are the people that are going to anchor you and hold you in place in those moments when you want to throw in the towel. And they're just moments. You know, I can distinctly remember, you know, calling Nancy and saying, that's it, I'm leaving for Bora Bora. You know, we all get overwhelmed sometimes. We're all humanoids. And she would say, okay, get us both tickets. And then Trish would go, wait, we can't go today. And by tomorrow, we're all good again. You know, I mean, that's kind of a funny example of it. But that's one of the keys to having partners, collaborators, people, you know, in your corner. So that's the only thing I would add that we didn't touch on.
And you know, you reminded me when you shared that, the key is that my bad day is not the same bad day as Trish's.
Thank God.
We lift each other up, right? If we all got on that plane for Bora Bora, that would be trouble. And that comes from personal development. So each of us is responsible for our own personal development, so we can bring our best to the team, so we can bring our best to our clients. And if I'm having a crap day, or I got it was a difficult client or a deal that didn't come through that I thought it was going to, and I go talk to Trish about it, she knows that her job is to listen to me and lift me up, not get in this pot with me and stir it up. So having those agreements is very important.
That's so powerful, Nancy, because it is easy in partnerships, and that kind of brings it back to the one philosophy. Do you mind touching on that for a moment? Because that is such a powerful.
I'm happy to share on it, and we happen to have Lisa Soloway, who's one of our trainers here today. And I don't know, are they playing or they're just here visiting with us?
No, I'm gonna open it up here in just a few moments.
So the one philosophy is about treating each and every person you meet as the one. Treating people, like when you meet somebody new, being just as excited to meet them as you are when you meet someone who you think is the one. So it's about showing the same level of respect for every human being that you do, or we tend to as humans, for somebody who's deemed special, or a celebrity, or somebody who can do something for us. The magic of that is in recognizing and showing up, treating everyone as the one. You get to really discover that they are the one, because they'll feel safe and comfortable to share authentically. And that's part of the magic of what makes Women's Prosperity Network so special, is that when you walk into that room of 350 people at the Unconference, everyone is eager to be the one for each other. Not find the one, be the one.
Beautiful. So this is going to be an interesting question. Have you discussed an exit strategy? You know, an exit strategy could be, I love how you said Bora Bora. At first I thought, when I was thinking about, in some relationships, when we get married, we have that bond. And in partnerships, it's like sometimes you can easily think, I'm going to exit, right? And you can break up and things like that. And I was thinking, God, as sisters, you guys, you're in a whole different animal, because if something happened, you're together no matter what. So have you guys discussed, I mean, obviously the exit strategy if something happened, but have you discussed your exit strategy? And if that's something you don't want to talk about, you can say pass, but.
I'll tell you. So first of all, when I had my title company, and I was sick of it and wanted to do something different, imagine how it felt. I'm just going to close my company down, and I employed my sister Trish, my sister Susan, and my best friend John.
Right.
I'm changing my mind, go find a new life. You know, that was not easy for me. And of course, we ended up creating something where we're all together again, which is awesome. And so in terms of an exit strategy, every business should be built to be sold. That's, you know, if you are a smart business person, you create a business that has a saleable value. So we could sell our company today and go off and do our own things, and we'd still do things together. It's just who we are, you know. I can't imagine that really changing. And I can't imagine being able to do things without Susan and Trish, because they fit pieces of the puzzle that I don't have no matter what I'm doing. You know, and I would imagine we all kind of agree on that. So there is an exit strategy and a business plan that we're creating to take our company from the revenue it is now to next year and the next year, so that if we wanted to sell it, we could. That's the key, you know.
And if at any time one of us wanted to opt out, we would graciously work that out. We would be able to deal with that. You know, if I wanted to move to Bora Bora permanently and not open a Women's Prosperity Network chapter, it would be able to be worked out. And that comes from us having a 10 relationship.
Right.
And, you know, as we talk about collaboration, a lot of us don't realize that we already have a team. We already have a team. We have the person who does our website. We have the person who helps us with our social media strategy. We have our coach. We have the person who writes our copy for us. We have maybe a mastermind team who looks at our stuff and gives us feedback. All of those people are your team. So while you may not have a Nancy and Susan like I have, you probably have a Mary and Bob who are helping you all the time in your business, but we just don't think of them as team because they're somebody you write a check to. So if you look around your business, you have key players that are your Nancys and Susans. And those are the people that you want to implement these strategies with. Like even getting down to, what are your values around this? What's important to you? What's your vision? Let me share my vision for my company and what we're doing. A lot of times we handle things, I'm just going to delegate this project out to somebody, a 1099, let's say, to do a website, but we don't do that foundational work of, here's my vision, here's where I'm going, here's what's important to me, here are my principles. Same thing. So I want anybody listening to realize you have a team already.
And, you know, Shannon, I'm actually going to ask you a question, because that one of the things I most admire about you is your spirit of collaboration. You are always saying, what can I do to help you? How can I support you? Rarely ask for anything, and you show up and give. And when you talk about, so receive that. Did you receive that?
Thank you.
Okay. You talk about, as we're talking about teams, I mean, you put on the Expo of Heart. Talk about having to have teams, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, to be the leader of a team like that. You've got some mad skill sets around that.
Yeah, and look at what she does with the summit coming up at the end of September. I mean, you're bringing in a lot of great minds, a lot of big egos, all managing those contributors, as well as bringing in the people who you know will benefit from being there. So, you know, you're really good at collaboration.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So yeah, Nancy mentioned earlier how we're both doing events, and most people, when they do events together, they might say, oh, well, it'll take from me, or, you know, and realizing how when we come together and share the benefits of what we have, that we can really multiply. So thank you. Did you have a question, Nancy, or was that just a compliment to?
Yeah, you said you had a question for Shannon.
Yes, so in managing all the teams that you have over the many, many years in business, what tips do you have? Because you are an expert at this, so I want to learn from you.
I think you guys are doing a lot of them. One of the things I found is really giving them a place to come and be heard, having those regular meetings, having those regular webinars, having that place that they can come together and get a voice, because a lot of people will do meetings and it's just talking. Let me tell you what to do. And I found that in collaboration, when people feel like they're a part of something and they understand the vision, like everything you guys said, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, is so important to really having them be a part of it and letting them know that what they're here for matters, like taking time to get to know who's on your team and what their goals are and how can your vision combine with their vision to make it even better. So, you know, when I felt lonely at times or because even when you have teams, sometimes you can feel lonely. It's like I have to go, okay, how can I bring people together? What can I do to be that hub, be that voice? I also am big. I love how you started out with gratitude. Some people start out with prayer, some people start out with intentions, giving them that base of something to feel good and start out feeling good. Mm-hmm. And one last thing is I also love giving people that time to step up into leadership. I remember you guys probably know Nick, and we hired him when he was 16. And at one point I said, I'm tired of leading these meetings. I'd like you guys to step up and start leading the meetings. And this guy at 16 years old went to Harvard online and started pulling out all of this stuff for running meetings. He upgraded my level of meetings, and it was like empowering other people to take the lead.
That's good.
People have that opportunity to shine and show up and carry your vision forward, letting go of the reins, I guess, at times, letting go.
That was good. That was good right there. Yeah.
Good right there.
Right there.
Right there. That was good right there.
Which isn't always easy to do. I mean, I've learned a lot about really letting go and knowing that it may not be perfect. And sometimes it's even better, majority of the time it's even better than I would have imagined when I let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And trusting that it's always going to be perfect.
Yes.
It is always perfect.
So we have a very active group on Facebook. They're all saying, oh, we love this. Trish or Tasha is saying, I can't wait to watch this whole thing. I want to open it up because I know everybody here. Lisa's building a team. Darlene has a team. Mm-hmm. Do any of you have any questions? And then I have one final remark before we go, or one final question. But Darlene, Lisa, Linda, do any of you have questions for this amazing team? And I teach sign language on my webinars. This is yes, and this is no. Yes, no.
Great.
She's like, yes. Okay, you want me to unmute you, Lisa? All right, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so I heard you say that you have your meeting weekly together and then also with your team, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we meet with the team every week, and our sisters meeting is usually every other week or once a month.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. Thank you for clearing that up. And so when you're meeting with your team, you're just kind of going over, okay, what's coming up, who's going to do what. Can you just define the structure of that meeting, that weekly meeting?
Sure. So as Trish mentioned, we have people fill out a form, what their agenda is, what projects are they working on. And imagine, we've got lots of different things happening. So everybody fills out their form, and then we basically do a round robin. They give us a status update, what they're working on next week, where they're stuck, and then there's an exchange of ideas, particularly as it relates to some marketing. And creating the marketing calendar and the strategy around it right now. And this goes to what you talked about with kind of letting go of the reins. As we approach the 10th annual conference, I'm happy to say that the three of us are pretty hands-off, and our committee, our team, is getting quotes, coming up with ideas, how to do things, how can we make the VIP party special, how can we make the rock and roll part. Like, we gave them carte blanche to come together, and they meet separately once a week. So
Nice.
yeah, letting them know what area that they have domain over is really a key, and giving them the ability to step up to leadership.
That's awesome. Yep, glad to hear that, because we need other leaders. Otherwise, you're it.
Exactly. That's why I'm so glad you're sharing the message of the one philosophy.
Right.
Me too. Oh,
Can't do
because
it
the
on our
world
own.
needs to hear it,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we all showed up that way, wouldn't we just be all, there wouldn't be the trouble in the world that there is today.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
I feel very blessed and honored to be able to share that message.
Awesome. You're perfect.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of I really like that you do the form. So my question with the form, if you didn't cover it already, and I'm sorry if I have some stuff going on while I'm talking to you too. Do you get a copy of that before the meeting, or is it just shared at the meeting?
No, what happens is, depending on who's facilitating, right now I've taken on the facilitator role. Before me, it was Zach Matthews was doing it before. So what they do is they fill out their form and they get it to me a couple of hours before the meeting. And then I can look it over and I can highlight the things that I know we definitely want to talk about. The other thing is I look for the wins, because a lot of times it'll just be, I did this, I did this, I did that. So I look for, where's the win in here, and how can I translate this from I did this task to I made a difference. So,
Nice.
So they get the forms to me in advance, and then we just go around the room, and I kind of guide it. Like, I don't need everybody to tell me every detail, so I kind of guide it based on what they told me.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and again, on the form is greatest success.
She wants the form, Trish.
Yeah, right. It's I took the mastermind form that we use, and I pretty much adjusted it for the team. It's pretty much the mastermind form adjusted. The only thing I have in here is what process or adjustment did I make so that I can achieve what I intend to achieve in the future. That was the only thing I added.
Okay. Now, Shannon has a great coaching form too, which has some of that in there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, the idea is to just take, I like to call it an autopsy on your business. And really, it is. It's like, how am I doing? What have I accomplished? And doing it week by week by week instead of every 3 months keeps you moving forward.
Can we call it like an MRI scan instead of an autopsy?
Yeah, we can call it a
MRI scan. I like that.
something better. So I bet somebody gave me that term a long time ago and it stuck.
That was in that other world.
I think it was Melanie Berry, to tell you the truth. It was Melanie Berry, I think.
can hear her saying autopsy.
Working too much with doctor.
Hilarious.
I was going to add one more thing that I know that you guys are incredible at in building a team, and that's creating an environment of personal development.
Right.
Yes.
Right. All of our team members participate in some kind of a personal development program once a year. And within our company, it's just what we do. So everybody who comes by me gets a copy of the 4 agreements, and then we talk about it. You know, that's really important, just a foundational conversation. And, I have to say that our people, one of the reasons they love working here is because of the personal development. And it happens in every moment. In every moment, we're all growing and getting uncomfortable outside of our comfort zones. And that doesn't happen in every company. I know that. I know that we're really blessed that we just do it organically. You know?
Yep. Yeah.
You are 3 great leaders. And as you know, everything rises and falls on leadership. You set your culture, which is so cool. And Shannon does the same thing. Yeah. And I know Darlene does too, because I go to Darlene's salon to get my hair done. And that was the first thing I noticed was everybody really enjoyed being there. It wasn't like, I got to go to work today and cut other people's hair, right? They have a really friendly, warm environment where people are laughing and smiling, so it's the leadership, the culture you cultivate.
I love what you said. It does. Like Darlene would not be in business for as many years as you are, Miss Darlene, if you did not have a culture where you were the leader and you allowed them to be who they are within the structure of your company. And that's what it is. It's allowing people to flourish and shine for who they are and the gifts they bring to the table within the structure. That's a good leader.
Oh, let me unmute you. Go ahead. Sorry, Darlene.
Evolving the structure is what's difficult.
Right.
Because times have changed so much within our industry, and so the culture that we once had has evolved into a much freer type of culture. You know, I used to be very strict. Everybody had to work 40 hours, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts. But now with children and families and working women, you know, we've changed. We have people that work 1 day a week.
Right.
And, you know, my thought process is always, I don't care if you work 1 hour. If you're 100% here and you're contributing and you're making someone happy, then it's all good. You know, but it's things have changed, evolved. In 44 years, they would have to. It's a long time. But I appreciate you women so much, and I get inspired, and you know, the exit strategy type of thing. I really don't want to exit. So and you know, that's just a choice I made. Yes, I've had many opportunities to sell my business, but it doesn't interest me. And probably if I was married, I might, you know, but I mean, I love coming to work. So this morning I was thinking, you need to take 1 day off a week. And I was thinking, you decide on that day, but I don't want to miss something that's going on every day. So
that's awesome. I get that. I have to schedule in my fun time. Like I have to put it in my calendar because I love what I do so much that if I don't schedule it in, I get very lopsided.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I try to be pretty good and schedule my massage every week and go to a swim class and you know, go to church. So there are a lot of things that I do schedule, but I do love to come to work, and I'm sort of addicted to it. So not a bad thing.
No, it's a good addiction.
Yeah.
It's a good addiction. Yeah, Darlene, you're right, though. I mean, you look back over the last 30 years and our workforce has changed. You know, we have 3 millennials and 1 Gen X. And all of our leaders, we have millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, and you're right, the structure has changed. Like you said, it's not 9 to 5 anymore. So it's about being able to work with people with whatever they're bringing to the table and just making it work. And that takes a lot of flexibility.
And that's where having clear agreements comes into play.
Right.
The agreements. I really was impressed by the agreements, and I'm going to do that with every single staff member. Have the personal agreement that we both agree what we're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by that. But, you know, we have policies and rules and all that, and everybody signs it, but I mean a personal one. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is what inspires them, what motivates them, you know, how can they be rewarded? Because a reward for you might be taking me out to dinner. For someone else, that might be like, the last thing I want to do is go out to dinner with my boss. So finding out what motivates them is important too.
Thank you so much. Linda, did you have anything that you wanted to say? Let me unmute you.
Oh, she's just about.
Sure. I just shared a chat because I gotta run and I didn't want to just like disappear. But thank you so much. It was very good. I'm glad I got to hear how the WPN all happened. You know, I can envision it sort of, but it's great to hear it from the two of you. So sorry, I gotta go.
Oh no, you're
that's good.
But thank you. And I really enjoyed meeting all of you in person.
Thanks, you too, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we close out, I just wanted to, I'm going to ask you one more question, and you can ponder on it while I do a little plug for the summit. those individuals that do feel alone, and I loved, Trish, that you mentioned not really being alone, but there are some people that may not, they may not have a big team helping them. So I'd love to hear in a moment how a suggestion to go out and maybe start collaborating and looking for those people to surround themselves with. So the 10th Business Acceleration Summit is coming up September 28th, 29th, and 30th. We are on the ocean. This is our signature visionary and award celebration. We are honoring individuals that are volunteering in the community, humanitarian of the year. We also do innovative medicine. So we are looking for nominations. If you know anybody that's making a difference and kind of going unnoticed, this is a great chance for them to be recognized. That's a small portion of what we do, but we have incredible meals where we come together and you get to mastermind and sit with individuals like Nancy, who will be there this time. I'm so excited. And have the entire group focus on you and focus on your goals or your goal or challenge that you might be having and how to overcome that and work together. We also have a very structured networking process which gets you up out of your seat and leaving with leads. We support you from even before the summit. When you sign up, we do an assessment, we give you a coach, we help you craft your elevator pitch, and we help you discover the things that would be great to mastermind in this environment. We're bringing in Bernie Dorman, who's the founder of Forbes' #1 must-attend business conference. We also have Bert Oliva, who's a master at human potential. Hugh Ballou, who deals with nonprofits, and Russell Weigel with raising capital. We have a huge collective attorneys, a lot of individuals that come just to serve and brain ties. So no matter where you're at in your business, and I'm there with Nancy, that big advocate of looking at your exit strategy, this is an environment that's like an incubator where you can come and get support. So hopefully you will join us. Nancy, thank you for coming. I'm so excited to put her in the schedule and help spread this message of the one philosophy and what you're doing.
I'm grateful. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
So any final remarks for individuals that might be sitting there saying, well, this is great. I don't have sisters. I don't have a web designer. Anything to start that, stepping into collaboration? I would say join WPN if you're a woman.
Exactly.
Yes, womensprosperitynetwork.com for sure. Womensprosperitynetwork.com.
Yeah, you get an instant sisterhood that way. And, you talked about being lonely. Just real quick, let me touch on and encourage everybody that's here to determine when you get off this webinar today that you're going to reach out to somebody, and just connect with them. Once you start doing that, then it starts to snowball and blossom. And I know with a lot of people working at home, that was one of the big adjustments for me, was going from, because I said I'm such a people person, right? So I went from people all the time to nobody. And I did for a short period of time go, okay, what do I do now? This is weird and lonely. I've never felt that before. And so I started reaching out and connecting. I kind of made a list at one point, 10 tips for solopreneurs to stay connected, because, we don't realize it at first, so I always make sure that I have lunch with somebody. And it might be today I'm going to have lunch with you, Shannon, listen to the replay that we did, of the call that we did today. Picking up the phone and touching a few people a day. Nancy talks about that all the time, is just pick up the phone and say hello. And once you get in that mode, then it starts to snowball, and then you're never alone, unless you choose to be. And those times feel really good too, right, ladies? And gentlemen that are with us on Facebook. So that would be my advice, is to stay connected to somebody. Maybe not necessarily for collaboration immediately, but get in the habit of connecting, sharing, generically speaking, and then things will organically happen from there.
Awesome.
That was perfect. Does anybody else, Trish, Nancy, do you have any final remarks?
She said it all.
She's got it. That's the thing, as a solo entrepreneur, it's about continuing to connect with other people. So Susan, thank you for saying that so beautifully.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Oh, one more thing. Come to the summit. Come to the summit.
Yeah.
We want to meet you. We want to play together. We want to collaborate. And you got to get out of your house, and getting out of your zip code, even more important.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's my final remark. Come to the summit.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for making one of my dreams come true, to have this opportunity to interview the three of you and share it with the world.
Thank you very much.
What an
Thank
honor.
you so much. Great to see you, Lisa, Darlene, Linda,
Thank you.
and everybody on Facebook. Take care. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody. Bye.
Have a great